guys, hope you have gone through the exercise 1.1 of the number system that we did yesterday. It's quite easy. The exercise was a small exercise and it was the revision of what we had earlier done. Today let's see exercise 1.2 and let's see what we are going to do in this exercise. There's nothing new that concepts are just the same. We have to apply it and see how the answers come up. Let's look at this exercise. Exercise 1.2. The very first question, it's a true or false question. Let's see what it says. State whether the following statements are true or false and justify your answers. You have to go through it, you have to find out whether it's true or false, and you have to also give the reason why it so happens. So let's take the first subpart there. It says every irrational number is a real number. We have to say whether it is true or false. Absolutely true. Why it is true? Because irrational number is a smaller collection as compared to real number. Whenever you have a smaller collection that comes first in these kind of statements, generally the statements will come out true. That's how we take it in a shortcut sense, and otherwise when you actually broadly think, you will get to know that irrational numbers are a smaller collection, a real number is a bigger collection. Automatically every irrational number is going to be a real number. So the very first subpart, the answer is true. And why it is true? Because irrational number is a smaller collection as compared to real number. Since irrational numbers are a smaller collection as compared to real number. Yes. Then let's come to the next subpart. And in the next subpart, they say, they ask us, every point on the number line is of the form root m, where m is a natural number. They are asking us whether it is true or false. Every point on the number line, whether it is of the form root m and where m is a natural number, that is also possible. How can you have every point on the number line which should be a root of some number? There are some points which are like that. Like for example, you can take a point like 2. 2 is root of 4. Yes, it is a root of a natural number. But every point doesn't happen. That's a false statement. So we can write it's false. And as I told you in yesterday's class that whenever a statement is false, it's enough if you give a counter example. You give an example where this doesn't happen. So we could do that way. We could take a point and we could say that for this you don't have certain thing happening, and that is why it is false. So this is a false statement. And why it is false? They have asked us whether every point on the number line is of the form root m. Now that, as I said, is not possible. Take some number like 1.5. You can say that there is no natural number which can give you root like that, 1.5. So therefore it doesn't happen. On the number line, does not obey this. Third subpart, they say every real number is an irrational number. Can that be possible? I just told you in the first subpart, one shortcut how to understand this. Whatever comes after every, if that collection is a smaller collection, then generally the statement will be true. But whatever collection comes after every, if it's a bigger collection, then that statement will not be true. So that is a shortcut way of understanding the statement. And broadly you can sit and think at the collections, you get to know how it is. Here what they say, every real number, that means a bigger collection, is an irrational number, that means a smaller collection. So that is not true, it's false. Every real number, how can it be irrational? For example, suppose if I take a number like 5, 5 is a real number. but it is not irrational, it's a rational number, so it doesn't happen. So that is false. So that statement is also false. What is the reason? Since as we took 5 for example, 5 is a real number, but it is not irrational. It's a rational number, it's not irrational. So therefore, there are numbers like this. That's what we want to say, that when we try to say that a statement is false, we are trying to say that there are numbers which is not obeying this property, and this is that number which is not obeying that property, and that is why it's a false statement. So that's about the question number 1. It has got 3 subparts, and this is how it is happening. Now we'll go to the question number 2, and let's see what they say in the question number 2. Are the square roots of all positive integers irrational? If not, give an example of the square root of a number that is a rational number. Now, this is something that we observe. It comes by our observation. They say that are the square root of all positive integers. Now, before we go to the question, generally, let's think. Let's look at positive integers. Let's start from positive integers. First positive integer is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. What they are asking, you look at the root of these positive integers, check whether they are rational or irrational. So let's observe. This is what we are doing for the question number 2. Let us consider. It's just a matter of considering. Let's consider root of 1. It is 1. What is root of 2? It is 1.414, and so on continues. What is root of 3? It is 1.732, and so on continues. What is root of 4? Root of 4 is 2. So, and so on. This process continues. What they ask us? They are asking us, are the square root of all positive integers irrational? Now, till here, of course this continues. Let's observe till here. We got the root of 1, 1. That was a rational number. Root of 4, 2, that was a rational number. But root of 2 and root of 3, they were irrationals. What do we understand from here? That root of positive integers can be rational and it can be irrational also. So it happens both ways. That's how we are going to answer that question. They are asking us, are the square roots of all positive integers irrational? No, it can be rational also. So that we have to answer, and then we have to give examples. We have given abundant of examples, so we can reframe it and we can write. So this we have observed, and on the basis of this observation, we are going to write the answer for the remaining ones. Let's see how we are going to write it. They are asking us, are the roots irrational? So let's write, consider this, and then after we have considered this, we will write so square roots of positive integers. So square root of positive integers are not always irrational. Sometimes they can be rational also. If you want, are not always. You want, you can highlight so that comes clear to the examiner. Are not always irrational, and they are asking us to give an example. We have already given an example. If you want, we can, if not, give an example of a number that is a rational number. So we've got enough. We've got root 1 also, we've got root 4 also. We can proceed. Root 9, 3. So there are. Let us consider the following examples. Let us consider the following examples. That is, root 1 is 1, root 4 is 2, and root 9 is 3. Of course, you can continue. You can also write root 16 is 4. That's your wish. We start and we write it like this. So this is what they are expecting out of that question. Okay. Then we come across the question number 3. Now, question number 3, it's construction. We have got to construct and get it. Show that root 5 can be represented on the number line. There are 2-3 different methods of showing the position of root 5 on the number line. We will be taking up, as I said, there are 2 or 3 methods of doing it. We will be taking it by a square root spiral method. Alternative methods are available, and we could take it up sometime later. Let's see how to do it by spiral method. We will see how we can construct root 5 on the number line by the spiral method. Means what? We know that root 5 somewhere it is there on the number line, but we don't know where it is. So in order to find out at what place that root 5 is, we are going to plot it and we are going to find out the position of root 5 on the number line. So it's a construction. All of you will have to have your compasses,